Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn lesson 3.4, find and use slopes of lines. So this lesson should be a review, should be easy, but it is important to review these concepts of slope of lines, and next we'll be talking about equations of lines. And this plays into Unit 3 because remember we've been talking about parallel lines but cut by a transversal. So we're going to take the geometry that we learned from section 3.1 to 3.3 and apply it to the coordinate plane. So algebra is similar to geometry. It's just geometry in the coordinate plane, your XY axis. So we're just taking our parallel lines and transversals and giving them actual equations that we can graph on a plane. So just to review, your equation for slope is the change in y over change in x, and this is given points on a graph. So when you're given a graph and points, you can just go. You're probably familiar with the term rise over run. So that would be the easiest, quickest way to figure out the slope. So how much do you rise over how much you run? And if you rise down, then that would count as a negative slope. So for here, if you have two ordered pairs, you can use this formula, y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. You might have also seen it as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Doesn't matter if x or y1, if 2 or 1 comes first, you just have to be consistent. And y will always go in the numerator, x, your run, will always go in the denominator. So here, let's find the slope of each of the following lines. So for line A, here's line A, so I'm going to do rise over run. So here's the point on line A, and here's the point. So we're rising down 1, 2, so negative 2, and we're also running 2. So that would be simplified to negative 1. Line B, we have 2 points right here and right here. So you rise 1, 2, 3, 4, and run 1, 2. So rise 4, run 2, and that's simplified to 2. Line C. So line C is a horizontal line. Anytime you have a horizontal line, the slope is 0. Horizontal. And then for line D is vertical. Anytime you have a vertical line, the slope is undefined. All right, and then a few practices with actual points where we're using the slope formula. So for here, we would do y2 minus y1, so 9 minus 1 over 8 minus 2. So this would be simplified as 8 over 6, which is 4/3. For number 6, we would have 8 minus 7 over negative 20 minus negative 10. If you have minus negative, it becomes plus a positive. So then we would have 1 over, this would be negative 10. You could pull the negative out in front as negative 1/10. Number 7, you have 1 minus 1 over 8 minus 5. Well, 1 minus 1 is 0, so 0 over 3 is 0. So that would be, this would be the slope, so that means it's a horizontal line. If you're not sure if 0 over 3 is 0 or undefined, just type it in your calculator. It'll tell you. If it says error undefined, then that means that it's undefined. So number 8, we have 9 minus 1 over 2 minus 2. So we have 8 over 0. So if you divide by 0, then that's when it's undefined. If you were to type your answer in as 8 over 0, you would get points marked off because you have to, quote, simplify, which in this case means write undefined. So here's a summary. The ratio of vertical change to horizontal change, and this is a symbol that represents change. It's a triangle. Triangle means change, is known as slope. We use the letter M to represent the term slope. The slope describes the slant. Also, if there's a sentence in here that you're like, yes, Mrs. Wilk, that's obvious, I know that, then you don't feel free to skip it. You don't have to write it down. Slope describes the slant or steepness of a line. Okay, so maybe that is important. Slant, steepness, how steep a line is. A line rising from left to right, so rising from left to right, has a positive slope, and a line falling from left to right, so going like that, has a negative slope. All horizontal lines have a 0 slope, whereas all vertical lines have an undefined slope. All right, some review on parallel and perpendicular lines. So remember, parallel lines never intersect, and their slopes are always the same. So if they never intersect, then they must rise and fall at the same ratio. And then perpendicular lines intersect and form 90-degree angles. And then their slopes are, do you remember? Opposite reciprocals. You learned this in algebra. So if the slope of this line is negative 1/2, then the slope of the red line is positive 2. Actually, I feel like from this it'd be the opposite, this would be negative 2 and this would be positive 1/2. But it's just a diagram. So also, here's a little interesting thing. So for parallel lines, the slopes are equal, so M1 is equal to M2. But for perpendicular, we have this M1 times M2 is equal to negative 1. So let's make sense of that. So let's take our example here. Negative 1/2 times positive 2, or 2 over 1. So that's going to be negative 2 over 2, which simplifies to negative 1. So anytime you multiply all opposite reciprocals, it actually ends up being negative 1. So therefore, whenever you do M1 times M2, it will also always equal negative 1. So I would definitely write this piece of information down because that might not be as obvious to you right now. So go ahead and write that down. All right, some other examples. So determine if each pair of lines is perpendicular, parallel, or neither. So basically we need to just find the slope and compare them. So M1, we call this M1 and then M2 for line 2. So let's go ahead and find it. Negative 4 minus negative 1, so plus 1, over 6 minus 3 is negative 3 over 3, which is negative 1. All right, so now let's find the slope of line 2. 7 minus 5 over negative 4 minus negative 2, so plus 2. So this simplifies to 2 over negative 2, which is negative 1. So therefore, line L, we'll do L1, so line 1, is parallel to L2. That's the conclusion you would make. And then this is the work that would justify that conclusion. Okay, you don't just want to say that the lines are parallel, you want to show the work to get it. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here. So M1 equals 0 minus 2 over 5 plus 3, so negative 2 over 8, negative 1/4. Okay, M2. We have negative 3 plus 4. I'm kind of going fast. I hope you don't mind. 3 plus 1. So this becomes negative 1 over, positive 1 over 4. So negative 1/4, positive 1/4. So they're opposite signs, but they're not reciprocals, and they have to have both of those things. So in this case, this would be neither. not parallel or perpendicular. And then one last one. So here, M1 is going to be 0 minus 2 over 5 plus 3. So negative 2 over 8, negative 1/4 again. M2 is 0 plus 4 over 3 minus 2, which is 4 over 1, so 4. So here, these are opposite sides and they're reciprocals. So here we would say that L1 is perpendicular to L2. That's the perpendicular symbol. I'm sure you're familiar. All right, next example. Graph the line, graphing, through point 1, 3 and parallel to the line through -1, -1, and 2, 0. So it says graph the line that goes through this point and is parallel to this line. So that means it has the same, anytime you see parallel, think same slope. Therefore, what we are going to find is the slope between these 2 points, and we can use that to graph the line, knowing that one of the points is 1, 1, 2, 3. Also, make sure you get out your graphing notebook for this lesson and the next lesson. So let's find the slope between these. So 0 plus 1 over 2 plus 1, because minus and negative is plus positive, is 1/3. So the slope of our line is going to be 1/3. So from this point, we'll go up 1 over 3, plot a point, up 1 over 3, and then we're going to plot as many points as possible. Well, for you, you're doing it in your notebook, so I guess you don't really need to do as many points as possible, but just get a good amount of points so that you can accurately draw a line. And then you also want to get your straight edge. So if you have a protractor, or you just want to use maybe a ruler or your ID badge as a straight edge, that's fine. So whatever straight edge, do not ever freehand a line. Okay, that's where you make mistakes when you start freehanding, because it's not as accurate. Okay, so that's it. We graph the line. And then number 5, find the slope of the line N that's perpendicular to the line H and passing through point P. So if it's perpendicular, then it has to have the opposite reciprocal slope. So we're going to find the slope of line H, so M sub H. Then we're going to find the perpendicular slope. So -4 plus 3 over 2 plus 5. So this becomes -1 over positive 7. So then the slope that's perpendicular to that would be positive 7. And you can think about it as 7 over 1. That's fine. So from point P, we'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then over 1. That's as many points as we can graph on the coordinate plane we're given. So you just draw a line through that and draw. Don't forget your arrows, because you need arrows on the line. Okay, so then this would be line K, and let's give it a label. And then it says to, that would be, is that line K? No, sorry, that's line N is what they wanted us to do. So this is line N, and then find the slope of line K parallel to line H and passing through point P. So here we would go, from point P, we would go use the -1/7 slope, so go down 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alrighty. And then one thing you can do as well to add to your drawing is draw arrows for the parallel lines, and then draw a right angle symbol for the perpendicular lines. So that is the end of this lesson. And tomorrow you'll work on the edge elastic assignment to practice these concepts. Okay, have a great day.